Hello! This is going to be a session about how to create a color chart so that you can see how to mix your colors. And creating the color chart is really helpful because then once you have it created, you can look for the color that you're trying to make and say, oh, I wanted a color like this. And then once you have mixed it yourself and you know what is happening, you will be able to also mix that color because you'll know what goes into it to make it. When creating this color chart, and we're going to do this before the next lesson, before I show you the next painting, we'll be mixing this color chart, and then after that in a separate video is the next lesson. Okay, so my color chart here, I've done it this way where it goes along like this and goes along like this, but that might be a little bit confusing. What I'm going to do is make it a color circle, sort of, or commonly called a color wheel. And you'll use the colors that you have been using, the same 3 colors, because if these are the colors you are using, then you want to know, well, what colors can I get by mixing just the colors I'm using? So you'll have your blue, red, yellow, and white. Besides that, you will also need a ruler and pencil to mark the lines for where to put each of the colors. And you will definitely need your palette knife because there's a lot of mixing. You might not need a paintbrush. If it's easier to apply the color with a paintbrush, you can do that. You just want to make sure that if you do use a paintbrush for applying the color, you make sure all the color is out of that paintbrush if you're going to dip it into another color to apply. Otherwise it gets mixed, and then how do you know whether it's this color or whoops, I got this one and this one, mixed into my brush together, and now it doesn't look right and I don't know what color it is. So when I do it, I'm using just my palette knife to apply the colors. That way it's very easy for me to clean off my palette knife each time, and it's very clean, and then apply the next color that I want. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Step number 1, we need to make some lines on our surface. This is a piece of board. It's a piece of paper board that I'm using. It doesn't really matter exactly what surface you use. It doesn't have to be a canvas. I know art supplies can be expensive. You might not want to use a canvas. So if you have something else that has gesso on it and it's cheaper, use that. Or if you want to use a canvas, you can use a canvas. One thing I would say is, whatever surface you're working on, make sure it's at least 8 inches tall and at least 8 inches wide. So at least 8 inches tall, at least 8 inches wide. And the reason is because if you use a very tiny surface to make this color chart, then when you're putting the colors in, you have to go very carefully, and that could be difficult not to get all of your color boxes mixed up. You can see how big this color chart is. So it's not huge, but you can see that it's a good size, and if you make it too small, you will have a problem being able to fit the colors on there. Okay. Let's get started. So, like I said, I'm not going to make it exactly like that one, but I am going to show you how to put the lines on in a way that is easy. easy to do. First, I am going to put my ruler across from one corner to another corner diagonally. And draw a line. Good, I picked a pencil that's easy to see. I tried to pick a dark pencil so you can see it, but you don't have to have a dark pencil. As long as you can see the line so you can see the spaces, then it's good. Okay, now I'm going to go diagonal the other way as well. Match up the corners. Draw across. I now have 4 spaces. After this, I am going to put my ruler right in the middle. If it helps, you can make a little mark in the middle halfway down your paper, but this way is fine if you can see it well enough and you're like, oh, it's not crooked, it's flat, it's straight across, right where the X meets. Draw a line across. Okay, horizontal, and then also vertical, right through the middle. Okay, right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to draw 2 more lines that go through the middle. Because this is diagonal, I'm going to go here and here. Here and here. Because those are the biggest spaces, so it's easier to split it. If you are working on a square, then it doesn't really matter which way, as long as you can keep it straight. All of the spaces. Okay, so in between here, if it helps, I can even measure, right? If that, mine is 6, half of 6 is 3. So I know I want my line to end there, but this does not have to be measured exactly. As long as it goes from one edge to the other through the middle and creates another space that's big enough to work in. You have to make a space that's big enough to work in. Okay, and then one more. I'm going to measure for myself because that's 6, so half of that is 3. Oop, maybe you can see that. Okay. And go through the middle, make sure it is through the middle. Now, I know I'm drawing these lines very quickly, so at any time, if it's too fast, just pause the video. And here we are. So I will count my spaces again, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I now have 12 spaces if I count around in a circle. Okay, next, I am going to make spaces going in. Okay, I'm going to be making some spaces going in. but it needs to be in by a certain spacing so that I have enough space to put my paint in there. So here is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go from the top okay, and you can see that I have at least 4 inches here. I have 4.5. But if my surface that I'm working on has at least 8 inches, so then I should have at least 4 inches up here to work with. I'm going to put my number 4 up at the top, and I'm going to mark from the middle down 1 inch, another inch, another inch. So 1, a second inch, and a third inch. Okay, and I want the same thing from the bottom, so I'm going from the top down. Now I'm going to go from the bottom up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So an inch, an inch, an inch. Inch, 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 inch. Ready. Next step. I put my ruler horizontally on that line, and this time, instead of drawing all the way across, I'm going to draw from this line here to this line over here. So not all the way to the edge, but I'm going to go to these ones that are inside. Ready? Go. And the top one. So the bottom one, the top one, same thing. I line it up horizontally. And then instead of all the way across, and you might be thinking, what is this? It will make sense once it is all together. Okay. From the diagonal line to that diagonal line that are on the outside. Okay, so I'm going to make a box inside. So this is the outside, the very outside box. Now this next box, I need the sides. I'm going to connect from here to here and here to here. So I'm making a rectangle inside of a rectangle, or if you have a square, you're making a square inside of a square. And I know that this is a kind of an odd way to make a color wheel because it's not round. It's just that sometimes it's easier to draw things with a straight line instead of go, oh, I'm trying to draw a circle, but I don't like my circle. It doesn't look good, right? It's like, no, don't worry about it. Just make some straight lines and it will work. Okay, so now I have a rectangle. Oh, it's a little bit funny here. If I don't like this, I can erase it and fix it, but it's okay. It's okay. It won't mess it up. Okay, the next one. See, I have 2 more dots here that I made. I'm going to go to my next dot, and then this time when I line it up, horizontally, instead of drawing all the way to here, right, I'm going to move to the next inside diagonal lines. Oh, something is happening. Does it look like it's going back in space? Maybe, huh? Maybe. Okay. So this one, I'm going in. Here I am. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the top. Just go to those diagonals and then connect the lines together. This to here, this one to here. Okay, and I have 2 more dots. 2 more dots. Same thing. Go to the diagonal lines, not all the way to the edge of the rectangle. So this rectangle will be smaller than the rest. The very inside. There we go. I won't need the ruler anymore. But I have my boxes. So this is one rectangle going around the outside, second rectangle, third rectangle, and fourth rectangle. Each of the rectangles has 12 spaces in it. 1, 2, so I start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So each rectangle gets smaller and it has 12 spaces. Now, one more thing I need to write on here before I start adding the colors and mixing the colors is to write my 3 primary colors. You can, if you always use the same blue and yellow and red, if you always use the same ones, then you can just write red, yellow, blue, or R for red, Y for yellow, B for blue, and then you don't have to write so much in a small space. But if you don't always use the same blue and you want to remember, oh, this is the kind of blue I used for this, then you can write ultramarine, because that's what this one is. But if you're not using ultramarine, don't write ultramarine, right? Or this says cadmium yellow pale hue. That's a lot of writing. I'm really just going to write yellow. And cadmium red hue. But if you're thinking, oh, later I'm going to need to remember, then it can be helpful to write it down. Or maybe you have some space on the back, right? If you don't have space on the front, but you want to remember, oh yes, here's the colors I used. French ultramarine, cadmium yellow pale hue, cadmium red hue, whatever it is that you used, so that you know. Otherwise, if you have different colors that you're using and then you look at your color chart and you think, how can I mix this? Oh wait, I'm using different colors. It's not going to work exactly the same. Okay, so I will start with writing the word red. I'm going to write it over here in my second box in, or second space in. So here, this is the outside. I'm going to put it, oh, I'm sorry. That is not where I'm going to put it, sorry. Wrong. Third space in, sorry about that. Third space in. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, I'm going to have yellow, but I'm going to, it feels like a game, you know, you move your pieces around, okay? 1, 2, 3, I'm going to skip 1, skip 2, skip 3. On the fourth one, around, I put the color yellow. It's also 1, 2, 3 in. So 1, 2, 3 in, 1, 2, 3 in. Okay, now I skip again. Skip 1, skip 2, skip 3. On the fourth one, this is my blue. And you will notice it's 1, 2, 3 in. And also, I have an even space here. 1, 2, 3 spaces before I get back to red. So, now it's evened out. If you need to pause the video to make sure that you have everything in the right place, you can do that. I have my paints. They are ready. My paints are ready. Okay, I have my white, yellow, red, blue. I also have already mixed. I already have a brown here, a dark brown that's mixed. This is made out of a combination. Oh, let me change this around. Change to make it easier to see. Okay, this brown is made out of yellow, red, and blue. And the best way to make this is equal amount of yellow, red, and blue. And the reason why I have brown here is because I'm going to mix that with all of the colors I make. That way you can see, oh, what if it's not a bright color? Because you want some bright colors, but you want to know how to mix some dull colors, muted colors as well. Okay, so that's all 3 colors together. Here I have my 3 colors. And now to add the basic one. So I have my palette knife. That makes it very easy. I'm just taking straight from the yellow and I make a patch of the yellow here. It's okay if it goes over a little bit, it's okay. And you don't have to fill up the whole space. Leave the words, don't cover up the word, otherwise, you know, oh, I can't see what I wrote. And after, if you have a lot of extra on your knife, your palette knife, just wipe it off. I will be wiping it in between every color when I'm doing this. Okay, so now I need to fill the red space and the blue space as well. If you have never painted with a palette knife before, this is kind of fun practice too. How to hold your palette knife, and if you were going to use a palette knife to paint with. Okay, I will turn it sometimes to make it easier to hold it and fill my spaces. Okay, red. Now these are not mixed colors, but I want them on my color wheel because I want to be able to see where the unmixed colors are in relation to the mixed colors and compare it. Sometimes I really do just want the color just by itself? A lot of times no, but sometimes yes. There are times when I don't mix the color, or I don't mix it very much. I just put a little bit of something else in there. Okay, trying not to cover up my word blue, making sure to wipe my knife in between each color. Now that I have these three, I will be mixing all of the colors that are in between the red, yellow, and blue. Colors that are between red and yellow go here. Colors between blue and yellow go here. Colors between red and blue go here. I'll show you starting with red and yellow. Okay, in between red and yellow, in between red and yellow. So I'm going to take a little yellow and a little bit more red, and I want to mix a color that is halfway between the red and yellow. So I can look and see, okay, does that look about halfway between red and yellow? If I think it looks about halfway in between, then I put it halfway in between. Okay, so I'm going to leave 2 spaces. Leave the space next to yellow, leave the space next to red, go right in between. Oops, sorry. I should get a nice bright orange. Okay, then for the space that is closer to yellow, I want this color with more yellow in it. For this space, I want between the red and the orange, so I need this color with red in it. Easy, I can do that, right? I take a piece of this, add a little more yellow, okay, if it doesn't look like it changed enough, I can add some more yellow to it. Okay, and then I take the same thing, I take a piece of this, I add some more red. So it should get more red, but not all the way to red. Looks, yeah, I think that will work. That will work. Okay. Okay, so now I'm going to take those colors and put them on the places that I mixed them for. This is the color in between the orange and red. We can see it's a little closer to orange. And it's good if you don't use up all of your color when you're putting it in here. Leave a little bit on your palette because we're going to need it still, which I will show you soon. Okay. All right, I wipe off my knife, take a little bit of the color that's in between the orange and yellow and put it in. Now, if you're not quite happy, see, like this looks very close together, right? I kind of like if it was to be, this is a little bit more yellow, and then I can see the difference over here a bit more. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make that one a little bit lighter. For me. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to make that one that's closer to yellow a little bit lighter too, a little bit closer to yellow. Not adding white, just adding a little bit more yellow to it. Okay, that way I can see the difference in the color more. Okay, so I have part of my color circle, or in this case it's a rectangle, right? My color rectangle. Part of it is there, but I have these spaces above and below. What is it? I will tell you. This space, we're going to add white. This space will be this color plus white. This one will be this color plus brown. And this one will be the color plus white and brown. So I will start with that one and show you how it works. That was this color here. So I want a little of this color, just a little bit, plus white. It makes it lighter. I'll put it here. These are the smallest spaces in the middle, so it might get a little bit trickier to put the color on. But you can do it. It doesn't have to go all the way to the middle. It's okay. Okay, so it looks similar to the bright yellow, particularly in this recording, but it will look a little bit different. So then if you think to yourself, oh, I want this color, not this color, now I know, oh, if I take my yellow, add a little bit of red, just a little, and add some white, now I get this color, which is similar to this one, but not quite the same. Okay, I wipe off my palette knife. I'm going to take this color. This time I can use the rest of it together with it. I can mix some brown. A little bit of brown. Maybe I will do a tiny bit more. Oh, hopefully not too much. I don't want it to turn into that brown, right? Just change it some. Okay, so now I'm putting that one here. It's this color plus my brown mix. Okay, and then last, up here, I want this brown, which is this light orange, yellow orange plus brown, and I want to add white to it. I've already got the mix. Just add it together. Okay, there it is. Okay, and then you can see the differences. You can see the differences. That way, when you are looking for the color, oh, it's this color. Now I know how to make that color. yellow plus a little bit of red makes this. Then if I add some brown, which is yellow, red, and blue all mixed together, and I add some white, I will get a color similar to this one. Ah! Okay, so now I'm going to do the next one, and after that I will keep going around the circle. Make sure I wipe my palette knife every time so I don't mix it. Okay, this was the orange, the middle orange color. A little bit, plus a little white. I think I need a little more of that mix. There we go. Put it in. Back to my mix. Wipe off. A little bit of brown. Put it in. And it will probably look a little darker, a little bit more red, less yellow than this one. And then I add the white together with it. This is not quite enough white. I didn't leave very much there, so I'll just grab a little bit more white. Good. Put it up here. And then you can see this is brown, but it's a different brown. And now you know how to mix this one, because you think, oh, this orange is red and yellow. I mix an orange that looks like this orange from red and yellow. Then I can also add some brown and some white, and I get this color. Okay, I'll do this one next, which we already have. I don't have a lot of it, so I'm trying to make the color just stretch out to fit in here without having to mix too much more. If it doesn't fill up the whole space, it's okay. It's better to leave a little bit of space than to overlap and get your colors mixed up. Okay. It looks a little bit more pink, but like an orange pink. That's because when you mix red with white, you get pink, and we will see that. Okay, so going back to this one, now I'll mix these two colors. So here I'm adding a bit of brown. I'm going to run out of that color. I will have to mix a little bit more for this part. You can see it's similar to this one. Okay, here I go. Mix again so that I can have enough to add white. That was a little yellow, but more red. with brown and white. Oh, interesting, right? It's different from this one. Maybe you can see that. When you do it on your color chart, you will see it. You'll see the difference. This one looks more red than this one. So it's like a dull purple-ish color instead of more of a yellowish brown type of color. Well, orange brown, right? Okay, now I'm also going to do the one for yellow and the one for red, and I will continue by mixing in between yellow and blue and red and blue as well. So red, I've already got the red on my chart. I need red and white, which is pink. Wipe. Make sure I don't use the red with the white in it when I do the just red and brown. Okay, and then you'll see that this brown looks more red than this one. Maybe I can cover up my mistake, right? Where I accidentally wrote red, but that wasn't going to be my red. Okay, now I want these together. It's the red, the brown, and the white all together. And then you can see what happens. You can see how this color is different from this color. That when you have the brown and the white in your red, it makes it more, oops, I'm getting over the line, trying to make it nice. It makes it more dull. This is brighter, this is duller, because you have the brown in it. Okay, and now for the yellow, same thing. Wiping the extra paint off. Here's my yellow with some white. Wipe, yellow with brown. Looks like a banana that's getting old. And I put it here. It will look similar to that one. Maybe not exactly the same. Okay, and together. I'll make a little bit more yellow, some white, A little bit of brown. Okay. So you can see it's a little bit lighter than this one, but it's also a tan color. I'm going to mix the colors that are in between here, and then I will go mix the colors that are out and in. If your palette, if the space on your palette is being taken up, and you're thinking, I don't have any more space, that's okay. You've already mixed these colors. You don't need them anymore. You can get rid of them. You can wipe your palette and clean it. We'll use a little oil so that it will clean this area. Okay, I'm ready. Yellow and blue make green, blue, yellow. The blue will tend to darken the yellow very quickly, so I will use more yellow, not too much blue, and try to make a color that looks in between. Even more yellow if I'm going to go to the yellow side, more close to the yellow. Thinking not close enough yet, still looks similar to that one. Okay, that's better. That's a lighter green. And then in between the green and blue, the blue-green. So that is the yellow and the green, but darker. So more blue in it, less yellow. Okay, next I will mix these colors going in and out, in and out, in and out. The light one is here. I need to wipe the darker color off so that I don't mix it there accidentally. Yellow, green plus white. Wipe my palette knife. Yellow, green plus brown. Maybe a little more. Little more. I think There we go. Okay. So that I can see the color change. And together. Medium, the medium green. You'll see that it makes a light green. This is light green, that's light green, but it's a different light green. This light green has more yellow in it. Now with brown. Okay. And I'm running out, so I have to remix. So I didn't mix enough of that green. My middle green, okay. Like that. With the brown and the white. If you take your time to make a good color chart, then it's much more useful. If you don't mix the colors correctly, then it's hard to tell how to mix the colors later. But if you take the time, this chart can be very useful. Okay, next this green, which I have here. But I know I didn't mix enough of it, so I'm going to make some more. Of my dark green. Okay. Plus white. Then you can see that this is also light green, right? Light green, light green, light green. But this is more of a blue light green. This is more of a yellow light green. Wipe my knife, add some brown to the dark green. And then put it all together. I don't know if I have enough here for that mix. Maybe I do. Let's see. Not quite. Okay. Need a little more. Dark green with the mix. Okay. Okay, so that's the dark green plus brown and white. Okay, one more part to go. The bottom section plus the blue. I will mix the colors for the blue first, and then I will go in between red and blue and mix up and down. So blue, blue with white, also blue with brown, and blue with brown and white. Oh, I think I need a little more of the blue in there to make sure didn't get too much of the brown. There we go. That looks correct. Okay, and then I will add them on. Blue with white. Blue with brown. Blue with brown and white. I wonder if you're finding anything out about color so far that might be surprising about how to mix some of these colors. Maybe you thought to yourself before, oh, I didn't know that's how you make this gray looking color. Oh, okay. Okay, now I'm in between blue and red. Here, I'll make the in-between color. But like I said, the blue tends to be a little strong. Let me put a bit more red in there. Maybe a little more blue. Okay. There's in between. Oh, I didn't mix enough though. And the purple, when it's dark, the purples tend to look the same, but once you add white, then you see the difference. Okay, this one I will do more blue. Purple that's more blue. Yep. And a purple that's mostly red. Okay. Put them on. Here is the purple that is mostly red. And you might also notice that with the colors I'm using, I don't have a very bright purple. That's because these two colors here combined will not make a bright purple. Most of the time I don't need bright purple. But if I do, then I need to use a different paint. Okay, here's the middle purple. And the blue blue purple. Okay, then I will mix these colors, so the blue purple plus white. I think I don't have to show my mixing palette. I think you understand. All right, just take the blue purple, put some white on it. Okay. Then I take the blue purple and put some brown in it. It will be very dark, almost like black. And then the blue purple plus brown and white. Next, the purple plus white. It looks like a slightly different purple. The purple plus brown. Oh, see, I didn't wipe off my palette knife well enough. Let me try that again. Go. Okay. It will look very similar, just a little different. And then together. Oop. And one more. Need to make sure I'm wiping my palette knife. The red purple plus white. It's also purple, but just different, more red. This will also be very dark. And the red purple plus brown and white. I like this color. I think it looks like a pretty flower. Okay, that's it. We've been mixing, lots and lots of mixing for this one. Your end result will look similar to this. The third rectangle in, those are your primary colors and the colors that you get when you mix your primaries in between. The middle is adding white. The second ring is the color plus brown, and the last ring all the way on the outside is your color plus brown and white.